You know, there is this romantic image of moving to Ho Chi Minh City. You picture the street food, the energy, the neon lights reflecting off the wet pavement after a rainstorm. It feels like a land of endless opportunity. But nobody tells you about the first real battle you have to fight when you touch down.
Let me guess. You aren't talking about the traffic. You're talking about finding a place to live.
Exactly. And more specifically, the absolute Wild West nature of dealing with property agents there. It feels like for every legitimate professional, there are 5 people just winging it.
Winging it is putting it politely. If we are being honest, the real estate market in Ho Chi Minh City, especially for rentals, can feel like a shark tank if you don't know who you're swimming with. The barrier to entry for becoming an agent is practically non-existent.
That's the scary part, isn't it? In many countries, you need a license, a registration number, an office. But in Saigon, it feels like anyone with a motorbike and a Facebook account can suddenly be a property broker.
That is literally all it takes. And that is where the danger lies. When you are dealing with an unknown office agent, someone who isn't attached to a reputable firm, you are essentially handing your trust and your money to a ghost.
A ghost? That's a bit dramatic, isn't it?
Is it? Think about it. You find a listing on a social media group. The photos look incredible. Modern design, pool view, surprisingly cheap. You message the guy. He meets you at a coffee shop, not an office. He shows you the place. You hand over a deposit. Then, poof. 2 days later, his profile is deleted, his number is disconnected, and you find out he didn't even have the authority to rent that apartment.
The classic, take the money and run. But surely, most people are smarter than that? I mean, we like to think we can spot a scammer.
It's not always a straight-up theft, though. That's the nuance. Sometimes the scam is much more subtle. It's the bait and switch. This happens constantly with these freelance agents. They post a luxury apartment in District 1 for $500. You get excited. You message them. They say, "Oh, so sorry. That one just got rented an hour ago. But I have another one nearby."
And let me guess, the other one is twice the price and looks like a prison cell?
Or it's in a completely different district. They use the fake listing just to get your data and get you in the room. It's psychological manipulation. They rely on the fact that you are tired, hot, and desperate to settle down.
It's interesting you mentioned the psychology of it, because there is this pressure in HCMC. Everything moves so fast. If you don't take it now, someone else will. Do you think these unknown agents weaponize that FOMO?
100%. They create artificial urgency. "I have 3 other people viewing this tonight," they'll say. And because they aren't bound by a company's code of ethics, they can say whatever they want to close the deal. They aren't worried about brand reputation because they are the brand. And if the brand burns down, they just change their Zalo name and start over.
So, let's dig into the unknown office part of the user's warning. Why is the physical office so important? In the digital age, does it really matter if they have a desk?
It matters for accountability. If I work for a big established agency with a sign on the door in Dien and I screw you over, you can walk into that office and demand to see a manager. You can leave a review that hurts the whole company. There is leverage.
Right, but if you are just Tony from a Facebook group meeting me at a Highlands coffee.
Exactly. If Tony disappears, you have zero recourse. And it gets worse when we talk about contracts. An established agency uses standard, legally vetted contracts. An unknown freelancer, they might use a template they downloaded from Google 5 years ago. Or worse, a contract that is heavily biased toward the landlord or themselves.
I've heard horror stories about hidden fees. Like, you think you're paying the rent, but suddenly there's a management fee, a police registration fee, and a parking fee that wasn't mentioned until you signed.
Or the deposit return. That is the holy grail of disputes. You move out, and suddenly, that unknown agent is nowhere to be found to help you get your 2 months' rent back from the landlord. A good agent acts as a mediator. A freelancer? They got their commission months ago. They don't care if you get your deposit back.
It sounds like the core issue here is the lack of a safety net. But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Sometimes those big agencies charge higher premiums, or they move slower. Is there ever a case where going with the little guy is worth it?
It's a risk-reward calculation. Sure, a freelancer might hustle harder for you. They might find those hidden local gems that the big corporate agencies overlook. But you have to vet them yourself. You have to become the detective. Ask for their ID card. Ask to meet the landlord immediately. Never give cash to the agent directly.
That's a great rule of thumb. Never pay the middleman.
Never. Always pay the owner. If the agent insists on taking the deposit to pass it on to the landlord, run. That is the biggest red flag in the book.
It really highlights a broader theme about navigating emerging markets, doesn't it? It's this clash between the formal economy and the informal hustle. HCMC is vibrant because of that hustle, but that same energy is what can bite you.
Precisely. The chaos is a feature, not a bug. But you don't want your living situation to be chaotic. Your home needs to be your sanctuary, especially in a city that loud. If your entry point into that home is built on a lie or a shaky handshake with a stranger, you're building on sand.
So, the takeaway here isn't don't trust anyone, but rather verify everyone.
Verify, verify, verify. Check their phone number on Google, see if it's linked to scams. Ask for references. And honestly, if it feels too good to be true, in Saigon, it almost certainly is.
It's funny. We spend hours researching which phone to buy or which hotel to stay in for a weekend. But people will hand over thousands of dollars to a stranger in a helmet based on a 5-minute conversation.
It's the desperation for a home. It bypasses our logic circuits. We just want to belong somewhere. The scammers know that. They aren't just selling a room. They are selling the resolution to your anxiety.
That is a profound way to put it. We are buying peace of mind, but if we buy it from the wrong person, we are just buying a delayed headache.
A very expensive headache. So, enjoy the street food, enjoy the chaos, but when it comes to the contract, keep it boring, keep it corporate, keep it safe.
Boring is good. I like boring when it comes to my life savings. Well, that's a wrap on the property jungle. It makes you look at those for rent signs a little differently, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Stay sharp out there.